So back here in the Nexus, you will notice that the Nexus theme has changed. It does this when you're really close to finishing the game. Not quite at the halfway point, but a good 70% over. So as we do this preparation, if the title didn't already give it away, so I was thinking about how my practices went, and I was thinking, you know what? I don't really enjoy the Valley of Defilement. Some people do, that's totally fine, but most don't. I don't, of course. So, the first part isn't all that long. The second part is the longest, but I don't have to take forever doing some things. So I decided we're going to do the entire Valley of Defilement in one episode. And thankfully, because of the speed up onto Dazzle, I could actually pull that off. It's really, you're not missing too much. Most of the great experience of this game is planning it out. Not most of it, but a good portion of it is as well. And then, of course, executing it and then seeing it, succeed to be fruitful. That being said, when we go ahead and take on or when you take this game on again with better technology, which may come into my possession within the next month. The technology, well, we won't immediately dive back into this game straight away, but when we redo it, a lot more will be afforded to me. I'll have some more time and more effort put into this, because now that I've done this type of game, a Souls game, actually a more complex game, because, let's see here, Paper Mario and Pokemon Yellow aren't at all complex. Ratchet and Clank, not really complex, but that's one of the things I like about it. Final Fantasy X. Well, yeah, it is a complex game, and that's totally fine. It's just that more complex games deserve a lot more. Well, yeah, they deserve, I would say, a lot more content. And not only that, but they have a lot more content afforded onto them, not just by the gaming experience itself, but what I can add to it. I really do try doing my best to add what I can in my playthroughs to make them different somehow, to make them stand out. What I like to do is that if there's nothing any particularly special I can do, like a challenge playthrough, or maybe even a speedrun example, for example, or what is it? Exhibition, I guess you would say. A speedrun exhibition, something to make it stand out, because there's plenty of videos out there. I'm not exactly doing the immediately games that are out there. I don't want to seem like, an attention hog just trying to grab a train or stuff. I've explained this many times before. I'm not in it for money or fame. However, with games such as this and games like Final Fantasy X, I could do much more because there's just so much in it, and I can add so much more to that. There's lore behind this game, and a really good lore actually as well. Really good in-depth sort of lore that you really wouldn't think about in the Souls games exists, not just Demon Souls, but the point is it's out there. And of course it's there available to read, but I want to add to that. And an example of, not all Nintendo games are simply like this, just simple, come in like packaged the way they are. I mean, stuff like Paper Mario, it's a good introductory playthrough for somebody trying to get into something. But as we come onto the first boss, like I said, the first part of this area was, just forgive my ramblings, the sort of idea of what we're going to be going forward to this. It's kind of ironic I say this, because not too many people are following Demon Souls right now in the moment, but just as this whole thing is just logged, and that's totally fine with me. Sort of going on a record, if you will. And I'm really glad I made this build. This is the build I used the first time I played through the game, and I'm really glad it's up here all the same. Now, I am actually going to... actually, no, I take it back. It's not the boss we're coming to just yet. Give it like 3 more minutes. 3 to 3.5 minutes, and we'll be there. But the first part of the Valley of Defilement.
Won't you buy something? My poor child is hungry.
The first part of the Valley of Defilement. It's this bigger area. It's a much bigger area, at least you could tell. At least the first part of it, it's very suspended. You're up on these rafters, these broken down areas.
My little one is
A definite improvement came in Dark Souls, the spiritual sequel of the game, is the Blight Town. Much better interpretation. I think what they were trying to go for, or what these people tried to go for. I know the two different studios made this game. Hence the name change, or the necessity of a name change. Those big defiled ones, you've seen a bunch of them as I was rambling about. are not a problem, but these big ones are. And as hulked out as we are, it still takes a good amount of endurance. Now, I make a foolish mistake here. I get lost. It has, like I said, I don't make it a point to memorize the Valley of Defilement. But I thought I might have accidentally stumbled upon a shortcut. Well, I did, but not from the right side. Yeah, as you can see, the bridge is right there a bit. So anyway, moving forward with this project, and I will bring this up again because it's so important. There's so much more to add to all of this. There's summaries before you go into each of the worlds. There's reasons for the way the worlds are the way they are. This is probably just going to make me resent the fact more that we didn't get the 4th Archstone in the Valley of Giants. But I guess that's sort of what they thought they were giving us in Dark Souls with the Giants Graveyard. That's definitely not what it's called exactly, but those who know what I'm talking about know what I'm talking about, and those who don't, check out the Dark Souls playthrough. I'm not sure when that will be coming out, but I definitely, with what I've said in the past, don't want to be taking that on until better technology is afforded to me. So, well, moving on here in the Valley of Defilement. Let's see here. I was just noticing that I didn't speed this section up. Must have missed it in my editing. You know what? That's fine. We're still on track for getting to the boss in around 8 minutes or so. There's a lot of places in here, as you might imagine, that can poison you. And you've already seen some instances. There's places that give you plague, or effectively toxic, as it translates to in Dark Souls. The effects are pretty much what you would imagine in any game. Poison deals damage to you over time. Toxic deals even more damage faster. A little bit more damage, but at a faster rate, which, you know, it adds up. The Lotus, the Pink Lotus, or the Royal Lotus, will take care of the poison, and the Widow Lotus, the White Lotus, will take care of the toxic. I got it from some of those rats, which can give it to you almost instantaneously. The plague depends on your luck stat, but there's the fog gate for the boss already. So thankfully I did come across all the itemized souls that I wanted to. Now, everything else here, as you can imagine, since the theme is sort of disease and plague and all that other stuff, is very vulnerable to fire, which of course purifies. So that's where the Black Turpentine is going to be very valuable in this boss fight here. Yeah, like I said, really just disgusting, but disgustingly simple also. All I'm pretty much going to do is take my giant flaming dragon sword and beat it to death, which won't take long at all, because everything in here is super weak to fire. Hello? Oh, typically what I do is just hop down to him, which I guess I'll just do right now. He has a healing move, but with our really powerful weapon, yeah, that shouldn't even happen. Even if he flails about, we just have so much defense. We have a really awesome tank of a character. What did that take, 10 seconds?
You have obtained the Demon's Soul, a power that is beyond human imagination.
Normally I would say I'm sad because I didn't get to show off what he can do, but really it's nothing spectacular. I mean, I don't know. I guess they were just trying to come up with ideas for bosses that would fit this place best. Sort of plague-filled area. I guess they just... I don't know. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't want to know what they were thinking. This wasn't anything spectacular, but even if it is for a Section 1 area boss... But for the last place, you think it would be kind of... Well, I mean, okay, I take that back. I understand that they were trying to make a more wide open world. And maybe, like I said before, you could take this place on rather earlier. It's just a little bit more haphazard in the environment. But also, like I said before, the environments are way more difficult than the bosses. Way more difficult, and that's even big of a stretch. I just made that stupid hiccup. right there falling into that pit, just getting a little bit lost. But anyway, I digress. I actually think we're going to be able to fit in all of the Valley of Defilement, believe it or not. Well, okay, the second area is kind of big, but get the wriggling demon soul, whatever. Let's go ahead and continue with the Valley of Defilement right after we need some more preparation. Alright, as we make a quick pass into the Nexus again to do a little quick preparation, let me just reiterate the principles of the Valley of Defilement. The big idea behind it is that it's big, it's rancid, and it's ugly, and it probably doesn't help the level's lack of attraction to players. However, you'll also notice, especially in the coming section, that the biggest deal, if you will, with the biggest challenge with the Valley of Defilement is the environment, not so much the bosses, hardly the bosses at all. A quick jump cut, because if you'll notice, I haven't activated once our awesome miracle second chance. That's because I'm just shy 100, technically at 96, so I had to level it once more to go up to 106 and get the amount, because to cast it, it costs 2 miracle slots and 100 MP. So had to do a little bit of farming via the Reaper and the Shrine of Storms. A little bit off camera, because you really don't need to see it. And you see how massive this place is, especially the second part. This is going to be taking the longest, so... but don't worry, because it's been all being sped up. That's really not an issue. It takes us a good couple of minutes, maybe 5. It's not a problem at all. There's a lot to explore in this area, however. Yet, unfortunately, and I'm really glad they did this in Dark Souls again when they improved on this game, is this swamp here. You can hop from island to island, but in the swamp it slows you down to a simply slow, sluggish walk. I'll say that 5 times fast. You can run a little bit, and boy do I wish you could move as fast as it looks like I am being sped up, but unfortunately you can't. There is a couple of surprises out here, some really good items, so take the time to look for them. I suppose if you're willing to, early on, another route you could take, since it's such a great open game, is you could come and try and brave the Valley of Defilement and get some awesome items early on. You get some really good new moon grass, late moon grass actually, sorry, dark moon grass, late moon grass, and you get some really good rings as far as also too. I mean, there's unlike Dark Souls, there's many copies and many ways to find single rings out here. You're actually going to see me pick up a Thieves ring and a Regenerator's ring as well. Now out here, what I'm looking for is there is a Black Phantom wielding potentially the strongest weapon in the game. The Butcher's Knife, which you can get from the Adjudicator's Demon Soul by upgrading a normal weapon with it, infusing a weapon with it, with I believe it's Ed. I get those two mixed up sometimes, Ed and Baldwin. But anyway, I'm looking for him, just being very careful, because thankfully he is affected by the movement penalties of the swamp, whereas the giant defiled ones, which are, again, you saw how annoying they were. There he is, he's just walking up to me. Just chip him off a little bit just to get a good jump on him. Because if you give him an inch, the weapon, his weapon, the Butcher's Knife, will heal some of his health with every hit. And that is true for you as well, of course, when it's in your hands, not to as high a degree. But it's still something. So yeah, you really don't want to get whacked with that anyway. We are wearing heavy armor, so we're pretty bulky. And we're kind of safe. But moving on here, when we do this game again, definitely going to be using a different build, so don't worry. Probably taking a magic build, which you'd think would own the game, but I'm probably going to need that advantage, since when we do the game also, I'm going to be trying for an all-black tendency from the start. I'll figure something out, and I will try for that, definitely. And then we're going to be exploring a lot of the in-game lore. You know, just giving the game as best treatment as we can. But right now, it's by the time I found this capability available to me, they've already been halfway in, and it is an old game. I don't expect to get a ton of views on it, but I enjoy the game, and at the same time, I want to do a great job moving forward, adding to the experience of the game. You know, that's what I'm sure what everyone wants to do. And if it becomes something to look at in the future, I think that'd be great. If not, I have it to, well, cherish, as cheesy as that sounds. It means something to me. That's why I really would advise anybody trying to look into LPing, even though it seems that recently nowadays, or as far as this video is going out, and the recent years or so, that live streaming has been hitting a high note. A lot of people like to stream on Twitch or any other live streaming service versus YouTube. But I was listening to a live stream the other day. Actually, it was Emerald Bogger on Borderlands 2, saying that, you know, despite the fact that a lot of people are hanging out more and more on Twitch, you know, stuff like YouTube, you're still getting way, way more views. I mean, the ratio isn't even 10 to 1. You know, if you want to compare between, let's say, the ad revenue, you know, typical view or viewing amount of, say, I'm not going to get this completely accurate, but just to give you an idea. Actually, no, I'm going to abort the example. It's just understand that it's still very high in favor of stuff like YouTube and putting up videos. You know, I have seen other people with other videos, not just in my suggested section, of course, that have like videos that have been up for a year and don't have a ton of views on them. And you know what, even though it's unfortunate that a lot of people aren't checking it out, it seems, because don't get me wrong, a lot of these games, they're not, a lot of the games that we love to do, we like to do stuff that we're familiar with, and you know, it aged, and there's already a lot of other people who, when they type into the search engine on YouTube, that they have the other top examples, and so they get looked over, which is rather unfortunate. But at the same time, I'm sure, or I'd like to think that, just like me, that I don't regret having put the videos up because, well, they're important to us. You know, we take the time to record this because we want to put our mark on something that we enjoy. And when we do that, I want to really put something that, actually, you see our our second chance activating there. Very, very much appreciated. Those things are really overwhelming. Of course, that's the design choice with those things, those giant default ones. So as we move along here, this place is really huge. As far as I can tell, I haven't actually seen a whole map of it. That's something I can do for the HD version. You're gonna get these glowing guys. They're like, they spread the poison gas so that you can get poisoned even while on land. They're not too bad, but they are worth a lot more souls. And right now, I'm just trying to get to the boss as fast as we can, because I'm not, even at this point, I wasn't sure how long this was gonna go. Still clearing a good way as necessary, because in any Souls game, if you lose your patience or lose track of some things, you can get sideswiped or just hit from behind, sometimes quite literally with an enemy backstab, although I haven't had that problem on Demon Souls, and you end up dying. You have to do stuff all over again, which unfortunately, I don't want to repeat that blunder we happened in the first part. But we are really close to the second boss, and right after the second boss, we're actually going to go dive right in and take on the final boss for the Valley of Defilement, the Archdemon of the area. So wrapping things up, just sort of wondering also to myself what I will be thinking when I hear myself in the future from this video, if I ever do catch it again. Definitely want to be moving forward with more improvement on what dedication I put into these games, which is why I'm still getting through to this, but still being true to the game myself by highlighting, making sure I'm doing everything consistently between bosses, between playstyles, trying to give you a good representation of the game, because as tough as the Souls games have a rap of being, they're not impossible at all, and they're very fun to do. And of course, that was just me showing you how to get that grass down there. It wasn't at all me looking away from the screen for a second and getting stuck in that little gap there. But as we move on over here, we're actually going to go ahead and take on the second boss of the Valley of Defilement, and then move on from there. Thank you very much for listening to me talk, although it definitely helps for those who have stuck with me moving forward and what they have to look forward to and what I plan. Sort of needs to be committed. But let's go ahead and take on this boss, make sure nothing comes and attacks us. We'll go ahead and buff our weapon and take on the Dirty Colossus. Okay, the Dirty Colossus. Well, it's a lot better than the Leech Monger, I'll tell you that. Yeah, Hold on a second. He's not all that difficult. Just like I said with everything else in this place. Not a difficult boss. More of a complicated... Hold on a second. Arrgh. He got me with his AoE. Yeah, the flies that cover you from his attacks act as poison. I do not believe they bar any negative effect to you. And that... Wow, that Turpentine did not last that long. Whenever he arcs down like that, this is going to do a little AoE blast that covers like the surrounding area near him. Because the best way to hit him is from his back, as you can see here. Oh, that arcing almost hit me. But there it goes. Hold on.
You have obtained the Demon's Soul, a power that is beyond human imagination.
Yeah, if you ever have the flies on you, these torches are actually useful. You can come into them and yeah, you get a tiny bit of burn damage, but it clears the flies. Which makes perfect sense. Okay, let's see here. The items for this area. Like I said, you're not missing much in his attacks. That's pretty much all he does. Whacks you if you're close. Does that AoE attack with the flies if you're hitting him too much from behind. Or if you're anywhere near him at his feet too much, I guess. And he just shoots some flies at you, and that's pretty much it. Not that too many of the other bosses were more eventful, I guess you could say. The eroded Demon Soul. However, these ones were a bit lackluster, but we'll get into more detail on that a bit later. Normally, this is where we go back and do some more preparation. But we're as ready as we're going to be for the final boss in the Valley of Defilement. So we're actually going to press forward here. You're supposed to just take these to climb down. I think there's an item. There's an item I sold up here. And forget it, the climbing animation is way too slow. I'll come back for it if I absolutely have to. But yeah, right in, straight away. We're going to take on the Archdemon. Or the supposed Archdemon. You'll see what I mean.
Go forth, Galvinland. May you be unharmed.
Alright, the Maiden Ostrava fight.
Slayer of demons.
It's really Vinland who's the more dangerous one here. Maiden Ostrava herself isn't well, she isn't dangerous at all. You can easily just take a bunch of arrows and shoot her from a distance. You can even do that over here on this side of this perch. I'm not even gonna bother with these crystal lizards. Just gonna get rid of these guys because why not? Come on. Now I accidentally did fall into the pit at down below. Unlike the rest of the Valley of Defilement, will not cause poison. It will cause toxic, and is home to, well, the most disgusting enemies in the game, the plague babies, which are extremely annoying, and I mean that in every sense of the word. They do nothing but get in your way, and they do end up attacking you a couple of times. So yeah, don't fall in. You can get through if you have a ton of luck or have a ton of stats in your luck stat. Ton of points in your luck stat, which increases your plague resistance or reduces your chance of getting it, or if you have a ton of the Bloom Lotus. Which, you know what, let's just go ahead and put that on just in case. Widow's Lotus, there we go. We really don't need Royal Lotus anymore, so just to minimize my shuffling. There's no particular rush with this boss, per se. It's just that when you get to a certain point, they're always going to be in your way. This is actually where I first fell in my very first fight, my very first time fighting. And it takes you to. There's a couple islands out there. I'll show you right now. There's a couple islands out there where you can perch and try and attack some of the plague babies. You can see some of them right there. Aside from that, villain, he's usually up here. If you go around on the top of the perch up there, his AI gets a little confused and thinks you're trying to approach from a different side. He's all the way down here. I'm just enhancing my weapon with some turpentine because it just every little bit helps. When you finally get over here, yeah, you'll start approaching. Oh, what the heck is he doing? Okay. Like I said, he's kind of built like we are, except that we have a giant shield versus his smaller one. Now, we can just potentially, lock him in here. But yeah, sometimes the game will just give him a huge favor and he'll just start trying to pack it on. Now, considering since we're both... Oh, never mind. Yes, you have. Wow, that was one of the easier fights I've ever had. Oh yeah, you can get his stuff here. I actually picked up the shield, which is really the only most valuable part you want, unless you want to cosplay as him in PvP, which is totally fine. Okay, now, Maiden Astrava. She's not really an Archd, but she's just holding the soul equivalent to that of one. She does have abilities, of course. She can use a huge AoE attack, magical based, with the Wrath of the Gods, similar to the one in Dark Souls, although only a lot slower. You do have to go into the Plague Pool a bit. So what we're going to do is, she's going to probably do that. She can use Great Healing, which... Oh, hold on a second. Damn it. See, I have nothing in my luck stat, so I just catch it extremely fast. Just to be safe, I'm going to finally put in some of our new moon grass. And we're just going to charge her there and just start attacking her. She refuses to let it go. She has her own belief problems. We will get to that way more in the HD version.
This is our home.
She's charging up right there. Yeah, it's going to hit us. It's fine.
We have done no harm to you.
I could probably put away the...
Dear God, have mercy.
Why didn't the first one go? Okay.
Is not
Wait, go back and watch that. I'm pretty sure I saw... I ate one of the new moon grass and it did nothing.
This cruel fate.
What hit me? What the heck was that? Oh my gosh, the rest of the fight's glitching on me. Thankfully she's done. But damn.
You
You have obtained the Demon Soul, a power that is beyond human imagination.
Is that not punishment enough?
Why is there stupid dark? Okay, fine, whatever. So let's just get back to the Nexus before the plague kills us. So yeah, I know that seemed really rushed, and believe me, it was. I make no excuses for going through it really fast. I have good reason, of course, because by this point I realize where this first run stands. But at the same time, I'm not half-assing anything either. I'm just getting straight to the point. There's a lot of extra stuff you can explore, and I really encourage anybody who hasn't played this game to do so. It's a very fun and challenging game. However, also looking forward, I know what I'm going to be doing with this game and with the further technology that I get. For anybody who is actually watching this at a more modern time, which I doubt, though, may be possible, there's looking to be a huge upgrade in my technology. So I'm actually going to be able to record in more high definition, and I can actually get to what I need to. And at the same time, since I already started this, in between all this, I just need to wrap it up. So we can go ahead and use the Demon Souls here. We're actually going to do some more of our preparation right now. The Pure Blood Demon Soul is where you get the luck-based weapon, or boss weapon. It's worth a ton. Okay, it's worth about as much as any of the Archdemons. Okay, you know what, also just to show, I actually haven't been gathering up a lot of grass as much as nearly I would if I were playing the game normally. Or just without the attention to a recording session being done. Well, with that being said, all that remains is Boletaria, the last two parts. However, there's still a lot to do. I would say another 3 or 4 videos max. So we're coming up to the end here. And let's see here, we'll take the Thieves' Rings off. We have 2 Thieves' Rings now. And we have 2 Regenerator Ring also. They have like 4 sets of Regenerator's Ring in the main playthrough. It's so weird. Okay, so what are we going to do here? We're going to level up in the next episode. and then we're going to head on to the next part of Boletaria. However, there's a couple of things that we need to do after area or Palace of Boletaria Section 3. There's a lot of stuff to do before we take on the final area, in which case there's actually 3 bosses left to go. If in case you remember from a long time ago at the very beginning, we had a red dragon and we had a blue dragon. The blue dragon is much bigger in every sense. It's worth more souls, it takes longer to kill, and it has a different situation surrounding it. So as we tackle the Palace of Boletaria in the next few parts, we'll be coming up on the end of this quick playthrough. Thank you again for joining me, and I will see you guys then. Why are you so slow? Bring up the action. There we go. I'm glad they fixed that too in the next game. See you guys then.